Okay.
All right. So we are back with the Leslie Jones.
Once
Um,
again.
Back for the first time, back for the second time, back for the third time. Okay, so we last left off in July of 2024.
Yes.
You had some updates for us based on the two pieces of land that you
Mhm.
purchased in Ghana. A lot has changed in the country since then. 800 people got citizenship. There's a new president and a new administration. Um, and we'll get to what has changed for you. But let's first take people back to where we last left off.
Yes.
Where did we last leave off in your challenges with the land situation in Ghana? Those two pieces of land.
Well, the first land, let's start with that one, Gomoa Feta.
Yes.
That's the land that people signed my petition for.
Yep.
That's the land that got me into the Jubilee House twice. That's the land that got me, connected with YOKO and the Foreign Aid Ministry. So shout out to the YouTube community and Ghanaians. I always want to say thank you because I would not have gotten this far without the Ghanaians on my side and the Diaspora, right, and the YouTube community. So we left off. The petition worked. It got to
Okay.
YOKO, right? Economic organization. I'm sorry. What is YOKO? Economic Organization of Organized Crime. I think that's what it is. And so they're like the FBI of Ghana. That's Ghana's FBI. So the petition got all the way to that height, and they called me. I had a conversation with them. They're like, "We're going to be with you every step of the way." They're like, "The next time you're in Ghana, we want to meet you. Come down to the office. We'll take you to the actual owners of the land. Have you meet the chief family and the people that actually own it." And I'm like, "This is great, right? Breakthrough, right?" And so that's where we left off. So we left off me about to leave to go to Tanzania to go to Ghana. That's where we left off. Yes.
So that's where we left off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that time, there was a bit of optimism, right? As you said, breakthrough. You're
Yes.
going to meet with the organization that polices these kinds of things and
Mm-hmm.
can enforce what's necessary to ensure that justice is served. So that's where we left off with optimism. Now, that was July of last year.
Yes.
Walk us through what happened after you went on your Tanzania trip, which was an amazing trip, right? If I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken, you went with Jay Cameron and team, right?
Yes.
Okay.
My family. It was my family's first time coming to the motherland in over 400 years. So I'm the first one, and then they're the second wave. So that was a huge moment for my family. Huge moment.
Dope, dope, dope. So they got a chance to see East Africa and what it has to offer. And then you go to West Africa, to Ghana.
Yes. So,
Um,
but it starts in Tanzania though.
okay, tell me. Tell me.
So by this time, I'm excited. Like you said, in a state of optimism. I talked to the Lands Commission. They're like, "Yeah, we can register this. By the time you get to Ghana, registration will be done." I said, "Look, it's happening." Okay. I was in Tanzania, about to get on the boat in the East Ocean, East Indian Ocean, right? And I get a text from my middleman that's been helping me communicate with the Lands Commission, YOKO, Cost Estates, all that.
Sure.
He says, "They said that there's another owner of the land and you can't register it." I said, "How can this be? This makes no sense." I did this full, complete Lands Commission search where Linsgard Group and companies, Cost didn't pop up because they're the ones that sold it, but we already know that's a whole story. So they scammed me out my money with that. And so I did another Lands Commission search. Linsgard Group popped up on the Lands Commission search. That was in 2021.
Sure.
So now we're in 2024. I get a letter saying, "Oh, there's two different chiefs that own this land." This the Lands Commission. This is the same Lands Commission that told me Linsgard and company owns the land. Now someone totally different owns the land, and that was back in 2014. So I said, "How can this be if they owned it in 2014 and I did my Lands Commission search in 2021? This doesn't make any sense." So I get there. I tell YOKO, and they're like, oh, something has to be wrong, right? And so they're like, we'll just wait till you get here and we'll go from there. So I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. So I got some power behind me now.
Yeah.
I get to YOKO's office. They treat me like I'm a disturbance, as if I wasn't invited. And I was like, what is this? So to skip all that, to go straight to the point, I asked them 3 times, what COS did, this is legal? They're allowed to fraud people out their money like this? You know what their response was? Because now I'm meeting with one of the bosses of my YOKO representative, right?
Right.
There's about 8 of us in the room. And he said, what fraud is in the States is not fraud here. This is Ghana.
Wow. Can we take a step back? Because that's crazy. First of all, that's crazy. Can we, what fraud in the United States is not the same here is crazy. Because I think fraud everywhere should be fraud everywhere. But we take a step back and explain what COS did. So you mentioned that you did the land search in 2021, right? Mm-hmm. And these folks who said they owned it from 2014 didn't show up. So what did this group do that was fraudulent, just so we can bring everybody back up to speed, those who haven't seen our previous discussions?
Yes. So I was part of a community. We got up to about 80 people, but 40 people purchased, and a fraction of us bought outright. So I was one of the people that bought outright, which never do. So I bought outright, and so stuff started happening because I was like, I should have certain paperwork by now. And this is through COS Estates. So I have a land liaison in the middle of COS Estates and me. So we're giving them our money. They're giving the money to COS. Just paperwork wasn't coming through. So by month 6, I said something's wrong. And so I was like, I'll wait to the end of the year, which was the end of 2021. And if I don't have anything by that time, that's when I'm going to go on YouTube and start exposing this company. And so that's when I did. I exposed them. And eventually I found out that they're selling land that they shouldn't sell. So where I went wrong was I put my guard down and I said, you know what? I don't need to do a lands commission search because the land liaisons, they have all their paperwork. Everything's in order. So that's where I messed up because I knew what to do and I didn't do it because I was like, oh, I trust them. They know what they're doing. They didn't. So that's when I did and I started doing what I knew to do. And that's when I did my lands commission search in the top of 2021. And that's when I found out COS Estates didn't own the land. Someone else did. And that's how everything started
like unfolding?
Coming to light. Yeah, coming to the light because now I'm doing what I know to do. And so And that came to the light, and I did that land switching search. Lens God and companies came up. And so when that petition went through and, YOKO called everyone down to the office. He was like, YOKO said, everyone needs to come down. And that's when I got my indentures. Because remember, we're all fighting for our indentures for years now. Right. And the only reason I got my indentures is because the petition that the community signed, YOKO, all of a sudden, I get my indentures. And I'm like, oh, the investigation has started. So the investigation started, right? And so, what's funny? I never shared this, but my YOKO representative, he said, we almost took the CEO of COS to jail because they couldn't even contact him. Because COS has so many numbers, right? They couldn't even contact COS direct. This is YOKO. This is Ghana's FBI. And they couldn't even contact them. So they sent him a letter and said, if you don't respond, we're taking you to jail. Right?
Yeah. And so COS, and just for everybody listening, because I know some people might say, well, why did you trust them so much? Where were they listed that gave you trust? Because I remember you told me about this, right? So you saw them endorsed by who?
The government, right? GIPC. Okay. Ghana Investment Promotion Center. So this is the go-to for anyone that wants to invest in any sector of Ghana. So when I went and saw the land sellers, COS was right there. So I was like, oh, this is if the government is pushing them, right? Then we're good. And mind you, I do want to say this is under the previous government, right?
Sure. Yes.
So I really want to make that distinction. So all this with the Gomoa Feta land is under the previous administration. Okay, so I saw that in the Ghana GIPC brochure, and I said, "Oh, I'm good. Let's keep on going. Let me skip the process that I know to do because they're backed by a government agency." Wild.
So I took it back there just for those people to have that context. Now let's get back to the statement that was made to you, and I think that ties into the statement that you said. They said that fraud in the United States is not the same as fraud here. Now, why did they state that specifically about cost? Right, it had something to do with the fact that they're a registered business. Is that correct?
Yes. So the reasons were, one, they had numbers. They had a number, right?
Because they had a phone number.
Yeah, they had. This is what YOKO's telling me now. They have numbers. Okay. When they were during the investigation, they went to the office and they saw that there was people there. They're moving. Things were going. There's activity, right? And the third one is they have land to sell, right? So if something goes wrong with the land you have, they have land to back it up and to fix it. And that was the number one thing. Like, oh, if this doesn't work out, they have land to, make up for it. And I said, wow. So it's not fraud because they have other land that they can give to you to make up for the land that they shouldn't have been selling in the first place. And that's why it's not considered fraud.
Interesting. So if I can get this straight, just repeating what you said, other places, not just in the West, many other places, if someone presents an offering, you buy that, they don't refund your money, and they give you something else knowingly, that is fraud, right? I think everybody would consider that fraud. But in this circumstance, what they're saying is, because they have something to sell, even though it's not the thing that they sold you, they're not considered fraud. Because of that, there's people moving in and out of their office. People use their office because they're continuing to be defrauded, from what it seems. And they have phone numbers, which they can't reach the CEO. Just to make sure that I'm understanding completely, right? This is what I understand you saying. Okay.
You got it.
Okay, so this is July of last year. Well, no, this is after July. So July and August, I guess, August of last year.
Last year. So I get the letter.
Yeah.
And let me tell this part. So Lens God is on that. So I get to YOKO. They tell me that, fraud is not the same here. This is Ghana. I said, so what you're telling me is this is not frowned upon or anything? They're like, no, it's frowned upon, but it's not illegal. I said, this is crazy. And so I'm thinking I'm done. Like, oh, they just shut me down. Because what can I do? Right? I'm like, I just got shut down by YOKO. So I walk out and I just happen to turn back and he's talking to the YOKO representative, the boss, my representative's boss, tells him, take her to her land, introduce him to the chief, and we'll make sure that what's that word? When people, it happened to you in your land, when they take land away from you? Encroachment.
Yeah.
Make sure there's no encroachment, that there's nothing going on. So I'm like, wait, they told me that, but they're still helping me. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to deny it. Sure. So we go to the land. Like, we go to the land, of course, you can tell they have been busting. They went through my wall again. That's a whole different conversation. But you can tell they're purposely bringing down my wall. And after that, there's no encroachment. They go take me to the chief, and we sit there with the chief. Of course, I don't understand what they're saying, but it got to the point to where I did understand because they kind of went in and out of English.
Okay.
And come to find out, Cost went to Lensgo to get the indentures, that I got, but they have not paid the chief of Lensgod and Company. So now the chief of Lensgod is complaining to YOKO, and YOKO saying, that's unfortunate, but don't go after her or you're going to deal with us. So I was like, oh, thank you. I got some help. Okay. So, okay, now he's taken care of. So now he's not going to come out. Well, he did ask me for money.
Okay.
And which I did because, the chief. So I understand customs. I did, I understand more now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we leave, and I give them the conflicts. I show YOKO the conflicts of the Lands Commission searches. And they're like, this is what you need to do. Go to the Lands Commission search and find out which one is legit. If the one that you paid for in 2021 is legit, then you should be able to get registered, right?
Okay.
If the second one is the legit one, then that's under our jurisdiction because there's fraudulent activity going on.
Okay.
So I said, okay, cool. So I went to the Lands Commission. My. I said, what's the issue with this? I'm trying to see how detailed I want to get. Do you want me to get really detailed?
I think people need to know the details of what happened so they know what to look out for, right? So
okay.
Yeah, please.
Well, in that case, here we go. So I get there. So I go to the Lands Commission for both lands, the Beachfront and the Gomoa Feta.
Yeah.
So I'm handling the beachfront, which I'll talk about later. So I'm there in the office dealing with the beachfront indentures and registration. My lawyer calls me and says, well, I called to talk to the person that signs the Lands Commission. That's who she was trying to get in contact with. She's like, they said he's gone for 2 weeks. Now, the representative at the Lands Commission I'm sitting in front of that I've been talking to regarding the beachfront land, he was like, no, he's next door. So I said, okay. So I get, I can only laugh now because it's just so ridiculous. At the moment, I wasn't laughing. I get up, I go to the next room. I put my lawyer and I gave him the phone. And I said, they said that you're gone for 2 weeks. That you'll be gone for 2 weeks. You know what he did? He just started laughing. I said, this is a joke. And so I showed him the proof, like, what is the difference? Because my lawyer's on the phone, I'm there. Now it's like, you can't ignore us. Why? They're like, oh, we don't know. I said, well, we need to know. Why is there a conflict in the same land, but two different owners from you guys?
Right.
They're like, we don't know. So he told the representative to go upstairs to check. So he comes back down and says, oh, your land shifted. And I'm like, how can land shift? They're like, that's all we can tell you, right?
Okay.
And the favor of God falls on me. Okay. The representative says, come here, let me show you. So he's not even supposed to do that. He takes me to his office and says, this is what's happening. We are now digitizing. And your land has shifted to the point to where it's under new owners. And he showed me in their database where my land was and where it is now. And I said, oh my gosh, that's a whole different place. Like it's not even next to it or half. It's in a whole different section. And I said, he was like, do you get it? And he even broke down like the longitude and the latitude. I said, no, I get it. So the dentures I was given from LensGod, he was the owner of that land, right? But now since it digitized and shift, my land is somewhere else now.
And to be clear on this digitizing, does that just mean that when they digitize it, there's a different way to look at the land and there's different jurisdictions now? Or like, what does that mean that they digitized it and your land has shifted? What did they express to you?
So basically, instead of everything they've been doing is by hand, like manual. Right. When you go and pick the points, getting all the coordinates and everything. Right. Now they just did a virtual landscape of everything. Okay. And now it is digital. Right.
So it's more accurate now than it was done when it was done by hand.
Right. But now things have shifted. And so which is digitization is actually awesome. It's great. Right. It's unfortunate that I'm in the middle of it. Okay. Sure. But anyone that came after digitization is more accurate. So good for you guys. Good for you guys. So he shows me that. You know what he tells me, Joe? He says, do not tell anyone this. And I said, I didn't agree. I was like, because you're talking to the wrong one on that one. I was like, my community will know what this is about. Okay.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I'm like, and listen to this, Joe. I said, no, I'm telling my community because this is crazy. Now I don't, and here's the thing. I already fenced my land. I've already took possession. If I didn't take possession, then I'll just, whatever land they want to give me, I'll just take it. I already took possession and paid for this. So come on. Okay, and so that's where the Gomoa Feta Land ended. So I said, this is crazy. I told YOKO. They're like, what? We'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm still waiting.
Since August of last year, you still haven't heard back from them.
I followed up twice with my representative, and I did it personally, and I was like, got it. Now check this out. This is the crazy part. So YOKO, before I left, I have a relationship with diplomat William Manful, and he's part of the Americas when it comes to the foreign ministry in Ghana. So he's been a key part in all this. And so he's like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to write a letter to YOKO. You're going to write a letter to the Diaspora Affairs Office of the President. I even told the Central Region's Police Department and the YOKO. We're going to write letters to all of them of exactly what have happened. Because remember, Diaspora Affairs of the Office said they'll be with me the whole time, right?
Right.
They didn't even respond to my petition. It was their idea, right? YOKO said they're going to be with me every step of the way. Well, we see where that ended. And then I was like, even my lawyer, right, took my retainer and it was like, oh, I'm having family issues. Haven't heard from him since, right? And so this is what I truly believe.
Okay.
I truly believe I have revealed probably one of the biggest real estate heists in Central Region. And the reason why I say that is first because the Lands Commission representative told me not to tell anyone, right? Because imagine if everyone just went and turned in their indentures.
Yep.
Craziness. Because now, what are you gonna do? You think it's just my land that shifted, Joe? No.
Right.
You're talking about the whole region.
And you were part of a conglomerate, right? So a bunch of people bought there. Then there's a bunch of people buying because of Asebu and all these other places, right? So this can be a much bigger problem because a lot of people are buying in the Central Region, right? A lot of diasporans were buying there. In fact, I've interviewed other people who have land and built on land in the Central Region. So this is interesting. Sorry, I cut you off, but you were about to say something. Yeah.
What I say, the biggest heist. And I'm like, Leslie, no one's going to contact you back. Why? Because now it's government agency investigating government agency. They're investigating themselves now. So why would they contact me and follow up with me?
Wow. Okay.
Well, yeah. It makes, because now they're looking at each other like, dang. She went all the way. Now what can we do? Ignore her?
Right. Okay. So 12 months basically of no responses from either agency. And then 6 months into this 12-month ordeal, since last August, it's been longer than 12 months, the administration changes.
Yes.
And so when the administration changed, how has your conversation or your interactions with these groups changed, if at all? So
after I found out all that, and my lawyer was not even getting back to me, mind you, I went through eight lawyers already. So I just said, you know what? I'm done with this. The Gomoa Feta land, it is what it is at this point. I got scammed out my money. I did everything I could. I got the community to support me, talk to government agencies. It's done. I'm not paying no one else to do nothing else because no one can give me results. I went as high. I mean, that's high. I mean, the only person I haven't met with is the president and the vice president, to be honest. Like crazy. So I said, that's done. I get it. Lost my money.
Right.
Now, when it comes to the new administration, that's when it deals with the beachfront land. Right. And the beachfront land has its issues in itself, but how the new administration impacted my land was the president stopped all registration. Because, new president, new office, he's like, we got to clean up some stuff. And it was an awesome leadership move. Unfortunate for me, of course, but he has to be the leader that he needs to be right now.
Right.
stops all registration. He sends out an executive order. I think it was at the beginning of February. He announces in January, but then at the beginning of February, it goes out. And I did a whole live stream on there and read it to my community and everything. Now, when it comes to the beachfront land, I did my lands commission search. I made sure the owner that was selling me was on the lands commission. Like, no issues when it comes to correct ownership. Okay. Now, there's a lot of negligence. So I said, I'm not going to build anything. I built my wall to prevent encroachment, but I'm not moving forward until I get my registration.
Right.
Through me pressing and doing my due diligence and doing my measurements and my coordinates, it comes to the surface that he doesn't have the right to sell a portion of the beach land. Right? Mind you, this is before the new administration. So I'm doing my due diligence to get everything cleaned out on his behalf, right?
Yeah.
Which I shouldn't be doing. I'm the purchaser and I'm foreign, but I'm doing your job.
Right.
So through me doing my due diligence, it pops up that a fraction of my land he didn't have permission to sell, which halted my registration. Come to find out, it was a portion of the whole beach. Okay, the whole beachfront, because by law, either 30 to 50 feet from the water line is for the community, period, law. So he's over here selling community land, okay? Wow. So now so I found this out prior in 2023, okay? Mm-hmm. I said, now the beachfront owner has to register all that in his name, all the other land that wasn't properly registered. So I said, how long can this take I'm probably at lawyer number 5 at this point. He's like, it can take 1 to 3 years. No, he said 6 months to 3 years. I said, what? Guess how long it took him to do his part?
How long?
1 year. So he does that, okay? Gets it registered. I say, the only reason I found out is because I did a survey, like, community, when do you think he's going to get the job done? And someone took a screenshot of it and sent it to him. He got mad. I'm like, well, you're not communicating with me or my lawyer. So that's how I got the results of the new registration. But the lands commission was like, we need the copy of his registration to move forward. You know, I had to get a lawyer for him to release those papers. And I said, there's something that he is hiding.
Right.
So the only reason he sent it, so I had got a lawyer, gave him deadlines to pass the deadlines. These people don't care about these lawyers. To be honest, like, I don't know what lawyer actually has power. But I use my lawyers more for record keeping, because I got to the point where, like, well, if I have to go to court or something, at least I have a record keeper.
Sure.
And took him a year to do that. Where did I leave off? I sidetracked my own self. Took him a year.
Well, you were saying you were discussing that you needed to get through that registration process, but prior to that, we were talking about how the president halted registration.
Oh, I remember where I am, and so so I got a lawyer, passed those deadlines. The reason he gave me the information I needed is because my neighbors landed in Ghana, and there are 2 men.
Okay.
Right. Because I got the paperwork I needed that morning they landed. I'm like, why did he just all of a sudden give me his lawyer, talk to my lawyer, and gave me what I needed?
Right.
And then later, my neighbors called me and said, we're in Ghana. I said, he don't want the smoke. Because 2 men, my neighbors just landed, and they're going to meet with him and talk to him.
Right.
And they're going to ask me, and they're going to talk to me. Sure enough, they called me later that night. I was like, he knows what he's doing. Because he would have known. It would have been a whole different story. Because now there's 2 men there. What are you going to do? Right? Because I'm in the States, so that I can't do nothing. Yeah. So I said all that to say the reason why he stalls on giving me the information is because now I have the map. It's called a composite model.
Okay.
Now I can show my neighbors, show anyone that's interested in buying it, the land that he has no possession to sell. And I was like, that's what he was keeping away.
Because he wants to continue selling that land, and he wants to continue to sell that land that he's not supposed to be selling.
Mm-hmm. So, but now I have it. I'm like, it makes sense why he wouldn't release that paperwork. Okay.
Wow.
So okay. But fast forward to the new president. So mind you, I already know that this land I have to take it off to continue registration. So I do that. My registration continues. I pay my taxes, folks. I pay taxes in Ghana, or it's really stool fees, but I look at it as taxes. I pay my land taxes. Okay. I'm like, ooh, they call me. They're like, we need an address so we can, mail you things. I'm like, okay, cool. Give them an address. The new president comes into play, halts everything, because he was like, there's people selling government land. There's people selling community land. And I'm like, I'm under that decree. Right. And I already know because I was doing my due diligence that revealed all this. So now we're just waiting. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm like, what are we waiting for? Come to find out, the chairman of the Lands Commission, we're waiting for him to be elected under the new administration for stool land. So my land is stool land.
Yep.
And it's beachfront, right? So now you're looking at community land that's designated for the community and stool, right? So stool land alone has a different registration process. And so everyone that has stool land, we're waiting for the new chairman of the Lands Commission to sign off on our paperwork.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So 2 different pieces of land, 2 different problems. This beachfront property, everything you've been through, I feel like there's cautious optimism that whenever land registration is resumed, you'll be able to complete that process and you'll be good there. Now, with the first piece of land, where do you stand on what you think is going to happen there? Have you given up on that? What is your expectations with the first piece that we started off talking about?
I've counted a loss completely. The only reason why I'm there's a slight, what you call cautious optimism, was great, is because I fenced it.
Okay.
That's why I'm still in the game regarding that. Now, I would have to, what else can I do?
I'm wondering, how do you register that land, right? Like, can you register? I mean, how would you?
I would have to find those owners of the land after this digitization. I would have to go to them and find them. Where do I even start? CASA doesn't even know who they are. And I said, Leslie, how much time are you going to, how much are you going to keep on, how? They've obviously shown you, they want your money, but they don't want you. So what the fuck? I mean, almost cut. Why continue to go through this?
Sure.
It's not that deep for me. It's not that deep. So I count it as a loss.
Okay.
If something happens, it's going to be because maybe they see this video and they're like, we got to save our reputation. Like, but besides that, I have the fences around it.
Okay.
And that's,
man, that's tough. So you're counting it as a loss. To the tone of how much is this a loss? Have you talked about this publicly? Have we talked? I don't know. I know I asked you this personally. Are you okay with talking about that publicly? Okay.
No, we talked about it the first time we ever interviewed.
Yeah, we did. We did.
At that time, I was closer to 50,000. Now I'm closer to 60,000 from 3 years ago.
60K loss.
But wait, the land was the virgin land of the first time was 6,000.
Right.
Okay. But the building, paying people, the flights, and the money I paid for the beachfront, that was 24,000. And if you add all that up, it's close to 60,000. So if I lose both lands, I'm out $60,000. What the worst thing is my time. I'm pushing on 5 years, literally.
5 years.
5 years, and I got gray hairs now. Hello, right? I didn't have no gray hairs at the beginning of this journey. So if all lands go to kaput, I'm out $60,000 in 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it is a cautionary tale for sure. It's one that I think so many people have dealt with in one way, shape, or another. From encroachment to having to deal with lawyers to having to deal with folks who are supposed to be in positions of power who do not exert that power and utilize it in a way to help you. You know, you've seen the bad and the ugly. My question for you is, that piece of land that's not the beach land may be a loss. You're determining if you want to go find the new owners and if you want to go after that. The beachfront property, if in fact you get to the place where you can register it, what are your thoughts about what you want to do with that land after you've been through all of this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to maintain that land? Do you want to continue on that path of what you had planned to do before? Like, where are you with what you want to do with it if in fact you can register it?
Yeah, Leslie Jones is not building a damn thing on that land.
Okay.
Now, I'm willing to partner with someone that wants to build it, and because people do that all the time. They rent space, and so that's an angle I'm willing to go, or just let it increase in value, then eventually sell it. But Leslie Jones is, I'm good. So that vision previously is no more. Everything that was in my cute little heart, has been squeezed out.
Now, can you remind everybody what the original vision was, just for those who haven't seen the first two videos?
Yeah, so I am a drafter, right? That's what I went to school for, and then I got my associates in drafting, design, technology, and then got my bachelor's in project management and administration. So I literally designed my concept. It's going to be a semi-detached townhomes, 2 of them, right? Beachfront, like a beachfront boutique.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the renderings. I already partnered up with a Ghanaian firm and architect firm. I mean, everything was going well. I was like, I just need to get my registration and I'll start pitching to investors and do it. So gorgeous layout. I might just sell my plans. Like, you want to buy them from me? So I might just sell my plans. But yes, it was going to be a boutique beachfront resort. Crazy.
So that is now abandoned because of everything you've had to go through, time, energy, and effort. We're talking about almost 5 years, $60K in money.
And
go ahead. Yeah.
Another thing is I've grown up as a person.
Sure.
Mentally, emotionally, I know more. I'm more educated about how the world really is.
Sure.
So people that have been with me from the beginning of my journey, they literally have seen me grow up. Like,
yeah.
I was like this naive little girl, like with just let's ambitious, don't know nothing.
Yeah.
But now, who I am, I found more of Leslie through this journey, and I'm no longer building because it's not even part of who I am anymore. I was someone totally different at the beginning of this journey. I thought, I was, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. I'm thinking I got to leave inheritance for 3 generations. I got to kill it, right? Then I'm like, wait, I don't got no kids. What am I doing? Why am I killing it? What? So all this made me realize, like, no, Leslie, let's go back to the origin of things. Why did you start this journey anyways? I was like, wealth and options for my family. And I said, well, if I'm no longer going for generational wealth, what am I doing? If I realize my family can create their own options, what am I doing? And so now I've had a paradigm shift of what I want, what money means to me. Because I was told what money means to me. I was told I need to build wealth. I was told that I need money for 3 generations if I'm a good man. And I said, man or woman. And I said, but what if I don't want that?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't want it. Freedom. I've been free ever since. So that's why I'm not building. If I was the same person with the same beliefs, I would have still built and kept on going. Like, okay, people piss you off, steal your money, whatever. I would have kept on going. But that Leslie Jones is not this Leslie Jones that's sitting here right now.
Yeah. And I mean, your experiences shape who you are, right? And so would you say you're grateful, even though it's been a very tumultuous, stressful 5 years going through this process? Would you say that you're grateful that you've lost that naivete and you've become a different person? It kind of maybe help accelerate you becoming who you are. How do you feel about that change?
100% grateful.
Okay.
That's why I can't be mad, because if I did not go through what I went through, this revelation of the truth of life and who I am would not have happened in the speed it did. Like, this condensed time frames. Like, so I was like, did I have to go through all this to get to where I am now? I had to.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you don't stop me unless you hit me with a freight train. Like, that's how just I'm an extremist personality. Like, once I learned that, I was able to manage myself better. So I'm an extremist. So you gotta kill me to stop me, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to go through all that for wake up, Leslie.
Yeah.
Wake up. And what I have gained from this was me and an awesome YouTube community and relationships like this, like with you and Tim Swain and Mortadella. Love me some Della. And then Jay Cameron. So it's like I've met so many people. Diplomat William Manful. Okay. Airbnbs. Like, I don't even have to pay to stay in Ghana anymore. Like, come stay with us, So I've developed like this second family, right? And this awesome community. But most importantly, I found, and I'm continuing to finding, but it was a quantum leap in self-discovery. There we go. Self-discovery.
Quantum leap and self-discovery. I like that. Yeah, I will say, the first time I met you, you definitely seemed a little bit naive. I mean, I wouldn't have said you were that naive, but based on everything you're saying and what you feel like, how much you felt like you've grown, but you still seem optimistic. Right. And I think that that's an important part of this story. I think that, we learn a lot. We get grades. I got a lot of grades, too. They're all in there, too, from dealing with land problems in Salon. And, that's a whole conversation for another time. This is an interview with you. But I'm still optimistic, even though I've been through all of that. I'm just cautiously optimistic, and I've grown a lot. And so I can relate to you in that sense. And so, I mean, would you say that you're still optimistic about, your future, the world, even potentially what if with the right information, doing business on the continent? How would you say you feel? I mean, we'll start with you and everything around you, your optimism, but then also with Ghana and West Africa in general.
First of all, I'm so happy, and I am optimistic because I'm taking everything that I went through and I'm capitalizing on it.
Sure.
Right. I'm writing a book right now. I'm on draft number 9. Like, this story will be told, and Ghana's only a third of it. So don't think my whole book is going to be about Ghana. It's only a fraction of my story. Right. So I'm taking the last 5 years. I'm writing a memoir. Right. And it's just that alone has been life-changing. Like, this book, I mean, it's going to do something. Right. I don't know how big it's going to be, but it's going to do something. So that's another reason why I'm optimistic, because there's always a way to capitalize on bad things. Right. So that's one thing. The second thing is the community I've developed. So now I've taken my experience, taking my bad decisions and teaching and educating others. So now my YouTube channel, my mission is to bridge the emotional, educational, right, and cultural gap for those that want to visit, repatriate, or do business in the motherland. So I've done all 3, right? So now I have it. You said it perfectly when we talked on the phone. Case study. I'm a case study. Okay. So now all my ebooks, my products is geared to educating my community, and I'm specifically for the people that are at the beginning of their journey, don't know where to start. I'm really here for the emotional aspect of it, because if we don't get our emotions under wraps, we're going to continue to lose money, right?
Yeah.
Continue, because it starts with us, because you can't lose money you don't give.
Right.
Hello?
Right. Right.
So, yes, I'm optimistic, because cautiously optimistic. I love that, because I'm going to capitalize on everything that I have been through.
Well put. And so, and I like how you're bridging the emotional gap. So I want to speak to that a little bit, because this is an emotional decision. And what I find is that it doesn't matter how you came to the emotional decision of coming to the continent, it's an emotional one. I know people who were born in West Africa, moved away, and they felt a drawback, and it was an emotional decision to move without a job, without any plan for income. I myself had emotional move, very different from that. I was born in the States, completely Americanized all the way till about 25 years old, maybe around 30, 33 was when I had this emotional awakening, having some conversations with people, and I moved within 12 months of going to Ghana for the year of return. Would not recommend doing that. I spent 4 days there. So very emotional decision. You mentioned buying land emotionally. So when you talk about educating people and helping them close that emotional gap and getting that under wraps, what does that look like? How are you going to help people really temper that and be more logical instead of emotional?
So the first thing I did was I put quizzes together. I put a quiz. Are you EQ ready? Your travel personality. Okay. And I basically, when I was a investment advisor representative, so I had my Series 6, 63, 65. So part of the process before we take anyone's money to invest it, we do a profile, an investor's profile, and we ask them questions. And wherever they rank, it tells us if they're high risk investor, moderate, or conservative. Yeah. So I said, let me take that same aspect and put it towards visiting, put it towards repatriating, right? And that's how I did my quizzes. So I'm not saying you take the quiz and you're going to be great, right? And you're going to be emotionally ready, but it is going to open up your mind to say, let me calm down and see where does this originate from? My money, am I prepared? So my first quiz is, are you EQ ready? It goes over basically what I went through in Ghana, but most of us go through the checkpoints, eating at, waiting at restaurants for an hour and a half for your food to come. It's little things like that can, if you're not ready for it, and it's your first time going to the motherland, it will ruin your first impression. But if you're aware of it ahead of time and it happens, boom, you're not mad. You're like, oh, this is just the way it is. Right? Oh, the water stopped for a day. Oh, okay. Well, this is what they go through. Oh, the electricity, stuff like that. Yeah. But if you don't know and you go, it's like, boom. You're like, oh, this place is whack. But it really isn't whack. We just got to prepare to go. And the second one is the repatriation quiz. Basically, it shows you take the quiz, you get your score, and it shows you if you're ready to go back and repatriate or not. And if you're not, it shows you what you need to do to be prepared to go. So, I mean, that's the main thing of how I'm helping people. Because I was like, man, if I just had my channel, someone that had my channel and had these quizzes, it would have definitely took me a different route. And then I have my do your due diligence book. And that's my highest selling ebook. And last time we did a live stream, I had people buy my ebook from your live stream.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get an affiliate link on that. Let's work that out. No, but honestly, I mean, obviously it's super important. I think everything you just mentioned, those three things I think are going to be really, really important, because there's a lot of talk about moving to the continent. And everyone talks about how to make money when you move. Everyone talks about the process of moving, but nobody talks about the emotional element. Right. And, you do need to temper that, because one, I think people talk about this a lot when it comes to relationships, right? They will always say, like, take a step back. What advice would you give to someone else that was in your position? You're so in it emotionally, you can't really see the forest through the trees, or whatever the phrase is, right? You're like in it. And I feel like, your relationship to the continent is like a relationship, like any other relationship. And I've heard so many people say the relationship with Mama Africa is an abusive relationship. And the reason for that is because they did not go in it with their eyes open, right? It was all emotion, did not use any logic, and put themselves in positions to feel like it's an abusive relationship. But if you know what to expect, and you temper your expectations at least a little bit, you at the very least won't get hit the way you described it as hard, And I think that's super important. So I'm glad that that's what you're working on, and I look forward to kind of hearing more about that and seeing it as it comes to fruition.
And I love that you said it's like a relationship, because the 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Have you read that book?
I know about the love languages, you know,
Okay.
Cliff notes.
Okay,
AI gave me the Cliff notes.
So one of the things that popped out to me is we're in that la stage from 6 months to 2 years in a relationship. Guess how long it took me to realize that I didn't want to be in a relationship with Ghana? 6 months.
6 months. Wow.
Now, I knew I didn't want to live in Ghana after my first visit, but I knew I didn't want to do business until my 6 months, when I actually moved there and lived there. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just like the 5 love languages. So like when you said that, I'm like, yes, it's just like a relationship. Yeah. By month 6, I was like, nah, I'm cool on this, right? Thank goodness it didn't take me 2 years, but it's taken some people. We're talking about this on the phone. I've noticed since I'm like on my year 5, every 2 years there's a wave.
Yes.
There's a wave. And I'm so glad it took me 6 months instead of 2 years. And I'm not saying don't invest in Ghana. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying be prepared before you go, because now I'm getting letters. Leslie, we should have listened to you. And I go over them on my live stream. I said, I go live stream more now. And I go over the letters with my community. I go over the emails. I said, I have to find 52 different ways to tell my community, do your due diligence. Some people catch on their first video. Obviously, some people are not catching it until they lose their money. But I'm like, yeah, it took me 6 months to realize that. And I'm like, it's just like a relationship. Hey, and some people like to get beat in their relationships. Well, and not me.
And I will say, everyone thinks they know better, right? Like, you know, this is something that I'll present to all of you watching. There was a saying that somebody said to me some time back, which I didn't love it when I heard it, because they were directing it towards me. But the statement that they said was, a wise man learns from others' mistake, a fool learns from their own, right? Something to that effect. And I'm like, we trying to say I'm a fool, you know? But it's important to understand that, you know, and another way this is put, you know, I was in the home-based business industry at one point in time, and one of my mentors used to always say, success leaves clues, right? You want to follow other people who've done what it is that you want to do, whether they've done it and it hasn't worked out. So you want to listen to them so you can avoid the pitfalls and the landmines, or they have done it and it has worked out, and you listen to them so you can follow their path because they've already paved the path for you.
Right.
Either way, listen to others so that you can accelerate your learning and you can reduce your pain, because it hurts. It hurts when you love something and then they don't love you back, or you feel like they don't love you back. It hurts. It really hurts. And it, you know, and you mentioned the waves, right? The 2 year waves. I absolutely, now I started going to the continent of Africa in 2017, regularly, twice a year, every year. And then I moved in at the end of 2020. And I can tell you, there are so many different people who are in and out of the continent. And this is different countries, but like specifically speaking to Ghana, I got to Ghana in December 2020. It is now August 2025.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Oh, you got there at the same time? Okay.
November 2020. Yeah.
November 2020. And so I think about this now, right? And we're in August 2025. I left Ghana 2023 to go to Sierra Leone. So I was staying on the continent, you know. Everybody who I moved there with at that time, like I met a ton of people. I would say about 90%, 85 to 90% of the people who moved there at that same time are no longer there. They're gone. They're gone. And the people who succeeded were people who had income streams that were on autopilot and outside of the country, no matter where they were, right? And in fact, what ended up happening is, because of that income stream, and it seemed unlimited. Many people have unlimited resources. You wouldn't believe what kind of money comes to the continent. Let me just tell you guys that. But when they come to the continent, it makes them free to begin to build something different and new and start new revenue streams. And it attaches them and keeps a glue to that particular country. Everybody who's left made just an emotional decision
Ooh.
and through that emotional decision did not have any logical, continuous revenue source. And so I'll leave you guys with that piece. We talked about a lot today, you know, and, you know, I, of course, in these live streams, try to keep it to an hour. But I want to ask you, is there any other final thoughts, things that you want to put out there to the audience that they can take away from this discussion?
The people, I said this the last live stream. As when I consult people, one thing that I've noticed is it's the same thing: emotionally imbalanced and in a rush. So we can get emotionally balanced. Don't be in a rush. Visit first. Visit first. I say, stay and visit at least 6 months and live where you're going to buy the land. Don't live in a high hotel in Accra but your land's in Salt Pond, like Central Region. Go live there, right? That's what I did with the Coconut Hut. I lived there. I wanted to see what the community was like and build relationships.
Yep.
And so emotionally balanced, don't be in a rush. I wouldn't buy any land before your 6 month mark. Yeah.
There it is. There it is. That was.
And of course, if you're a beginner, follow me. I am Leslie Jones, because my channel is so pivotal right now, and I live according to seasons. So once the season's done, it's done. But the ones that are at the very beginning of your journey, you haven't even visited yet, or you visited but you're thinking about buying, I am the channel for you. I have no products to sell you. I have no land to sell you, so I have no hidden motives, and that's why I can speak the way I do.
There it is. 100% real, from the source, somebody who's been through it. And I like to tell these stories because, of course, I always say it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's important for everybody to know, you know, it's not going to be through rose-colored glasses. And also, it's not all bad, but you need to know what you need to know.
Wealth is real over there. If you make it to the other side, wealth awaits you. But you got to make it to the other side.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. That's the thing. You got to make it to the other side. So, well, thank you, Leslie, for doing this. I appreciate you taking the time. And for those who watched all the way to this point, I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out Leslie's channel. It's I Am Leslie Jones. It's right there on your screen, so you can check that out. She got all things pertaining to making the right decisions before you move, bridging that emotional gap. And if you haven't already, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. Also, make sure you follow me on all platforms. It's Authentic African across everything. You see that logo on the upper right-hand corner of your screen. That is what you want to be following. With that, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all on the next video.